Welcome to OOTO TV, the out of the office investigation from our past into the future of personal health and psychophysiological actualization. This time we're discussing structured water, the psychophysiology of the human body. I'm Pastor, and with me is Béchamp. So, Béchamp, when we think of water, we think of the basics, right? Solid, liquid, gas. But what if there's more to the story? What if the water inside of us is fundamentally different? Exactly, Pastor. Today, we're going to explore this so-called fourth phase of water. We'll look at its role in the body, examine a clinical study, touch on the controversial idea of water memory, and even discuss how to create it yourself. Let's start with the definition. We're talking about structured water, sometimes called easy water. It's where H2O molecules stop being chaotic and instead form this incredibly ordered, hexagonal, almost crystal-like lattice. It's a gel, a liquid crystal. Right, and this visual really drives it home. On one side, you have that disorganized bulk water we drink from a tap, and on the other, this beautiful, coherent honeycomb structure. They're both H2O, but they behave very differently. And this isn't just theory. Dr. Gerald Pollack's work at the University of Washington is foundational here. He showed that when water meets a hydrophilic or water-loving surface, like the proteins in our cells, it spontaneously organizes itself into this exclusion zone. And that's the whole game right there. The water in a glass is just H2O, but the water inside your cells, this easy water, actually has a different chemical formula, H3O2. It's negatively charged, creating a separation of charge that effectively turns our cells into tiny batteries, powered by radiant energy, like sunlight. I love this analogy. Think of a murmuration of starlings, or a school of fish, thousands of individuals moving as one coherent entity. That's the idea behind the water molecules in our cells. They're not just bumping around randomly, they're working together. And this leads us to a massive statement. The theory is that exposure to structured water, psychophysiology, the human body, is critical to our mitochondrial and cellular success. In fact, it creates a healthy environment for cellular growth and success. It's fundamental to life. Okay, but that's a bold claim, Pasteur. So where's the human data? Well, there is this fascinating pilot study by Korthoff. They took 30 adults, split them into two groups, and for 1 month, the experimental group drank a liter of structured water per day. You're listening to OOTO TV with research by author Paul Bulow. And the results were pretty mind-blowing. Look at this data for the structured water group. Statistically significant reduction in fat mass. And even more impressive, look at the kidney function markers. Creatinine went down, and kidney filtration shot up. That's a huge improvement in a major organ system. And it wasn't just biochemical, Béchamp. Their adaptation potential, basically their body's ability to handle stress, went up by 15%. Meanwhile, the control group, drinking regular water, saw their potential decrease by 20% over that same month. These are opposite trajectories. I have to step in here, Pastor. While the results are intriguing, we must be scientifically rigorous. The study's authors themselves note the limitations. It's a pilot study with only 30 people, and it was done during what they call an unfavorable seasonal period, which could be a confounding variable. We can't draw definitive conclusions from this. A fair point, Béchamp. But let's move from the purely physiological to the psychophysiological. This brings us to the famous and controversial work of Dr. Masaru Emoto. He proposed that water is responsive to the intentions and frequencies that surround it. And his images are stunning. The idea was that water exposed to positive words like love or classical music formed these beautiful, symmetrical, snowflake-like crystals when frozen. In contrast, water exposed to negative concepts formed ugly, chaotic, disfigured structures. Visually compelling, yes, but scientifically, this is where many researchers, myself included, have major issues. The methodology has been heavily criticized. Were these experiments repeatable? Could they be done under strict, double-blind conditions? There's a very real danger of confirmation bias, of simply cherry-picking the photos that fit the hypothesis. Okay, but others are carrying this research forward. Look at the work of Veda Austin. This is macroscopic. She places an image, say of a lotus flower, next to a petri dish of water as it freezes, and the resulting ice structure seems to create a representation of that very image. It's absolutely fascinating stuff. So we've covered the cellular theory, a human study, and the consciousness connection. But this all leads to a very practical question for our listeners. What are the key elements for creating structured water? How do we actually get more of this into our lives? Well, nature is the best teacher, Pasteur. The most potent sources are found in the wild. We're talking about deep spring water that's been filtered and energized by the earth, glacial melt, even the juice inside fruits and vegetables. That is, by definition, cellular water. Sunlight and vortexing motion, like in a river, also play a huge role. This is a critical point. The research on structured water, psychophysiology of the human body, suggests that drinking purified water from processes like reverse osmosis and desalination may not be good for health. These methods might make water chemically pure, but they strip it of its natural energy and structure, leaving you with dead water. But you can bring some life back into it at home. It's simple. Take a glass of good quality water and just stir it vigorously. Create a whirlpool, a vortex. Stir for about 30 seconds. You're mimicking the flow of a natural stream and infusing the water with kinetic energy. And of course, where there's a theory, there's a market. There are countless commercial devices out there, from simple vortexing funnels to wands and more complex machines that promise to structure your water for you. The effectiveness, of course, can vary widely. You're listening to OOTOTV with research by author Paul Bulow. So let's bring this all together. When you look at the theory and the preliminary data, you can see why proponents believe structured water, psychophysiology of the human body, can be linked to preventing illness and increasing longevity. It's about providing your cells with the optimal medium for hydration and energy transfer. Which leads us to ask our big question again. Can structured water, psychophysiology of the human body, truly improve our mental and physical health? The pilot data, the cellular theory, it all points towards yes. It suggests better hydration, better energy, and a better internal environment. And that leaves us with one final, perhaps more personal question for everyone listening. If water does indeed hold information, if it responds to intention and environment, then what message are you giving yours? It's a thought that changes your relationship with every glass you drink.